What's up, man? This is Iron the Soul. Back today with another very important message. Please subscribe to my channel for those who are new. Like this video, share this video, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about my content. Well, I'm going to talk for a minute until the guys come in for this live lecture. And I'm really excited to talk today about a message I believe will be very inspiring. I guess I'll start with that. I think this will give you some motivation on your journey. For those who have been on the journey in the path of retention/no-fap, this will serve as a bit of motivation. I will not waste anyone's time, so I'll speak as long as necessary to give value to you and to add value to your life. I mean, time is precious. We don't have any time to waste. I don't have time to waste, neither do you. And so I have a lot to do, just like you do. And so I want to take this time today to give a message that I think will be of value to you and that can help you to stay consistent on the journey. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let these windows give myself a little fresh air. That'd be wise. Okay? So the purpose of this is to really inspire you. I've been doing some research on this topic myself, and this is new for me. I've been studying the path of retention, no-fap, for multiple years at this point now. And this is my first time studying it from this perspective of viewing it as the sacred secretion or the Christ oil. And so, you know me, as a believer in the Bible and the Most High, I found this to be very interesting. And I feel that those of you who see this video who may not be of Christian faith, I think will still get value from this. And so I think for you guys who are in India who may see this, who are of a Hindu faith, or for you guys from the Middle East, good evening. From Ireland, good sir. Hope all is well. Thank you. Oh, glad to come in, guys. Glad you're here today, man, from Ireland. Welcome, brother. And so welcome from Ireland. I saw someone in from Tampa as well. And so I'm sure some of you guys are getting off work based on, of course, the time zone where you may be. Some of you may have been home for a while now. And so I'm excited for the guys who are coming in now. As you come into the chat, please hit that thumbs up. It will be greatly appreciated. Big Iron, what's going on, brother Manzel Smith Jr., man? Good to see you, brother. I'm glad you came in, man. And so I think today's message is for all of you guys. This is one that, you know, sometimes I have messages, I wonder who is this for. This is one that's for everybody. And so all of you guys who have watched my content in the past and have gotten some value from this in terms of the topic of really regaining your masculine base, right? I'm just kind of talking for a while now. I got about 4 pages of notes. This may be about a half an hour or so. I'm not going to drag it out any longer than it needs to be dragged out, but I want to give some time for people to come in. So as I'm waiting for more men to enter the chat, before I get into my notes for today, I got about 4 pages of notes that can help you guys out. Any questions from you guys on this topic before I get into the message today, and giving some time for more men to enter into the chat? Short questions, by the way. This is your opportunity. I see a lot of questions on these videos in the comments section all the time. SR is masculinity and spirituality rocket fuel. Yeah, definitely. It will most certainly help you to tap into your masculine base as well as your spirituality. I definitely agree. Smoking weed on retention. You know what, man? I gotta, you know, I was planning to do a video about that, you know what I mean? And I got some notes on that too, you know? So what the heck? I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you free of charge today. Let's do that. I was planning to do a separate video on that topic, you know, and a couple of guys have asked me this. Give me a second here, guys, while I find that. This is just from the heart here. I wasn't planning on doing this. I have a few pages of notes on that. And so I'm going to answer that question. How do I know that I have received deliverance from a demonic spirit? Appreciate it, Iron. You know, one of the marks of a demonic spirit, that's a very difficult question to answer briefly, but I'll give you a few thoughts. And the reason I say it's difficult because spirits can at times hide, right? Demons are good at hiding. And so one of the ways that you can know you're free from a particular spirit would be demons like to torment. So if there is a newfound peace in your life, that's a sign of deliverance. if there was a particular sin that you continue to do, and now you find yourself free from that, that's a clear sign of deliverance. If you have a certain demon that is targeting you and you continue to manifest the same behavior, that may be a sign that spirit is still there, right? But if you begin to change the behavior and you experience this new freedom, that's a sign of deliverance. You feel free. Demons come to bring torment, confusion, and to essentially bring harm to your life. And so that's just a short answer to that. But that's a very complex question, and that will require a lot of thought. So, fasting could be helpful. Studying scriptures on that particular stronghold. Having a high level of spiritual activity. So something like retention. If you're on this journey and you're retaining and living righteous living puts pressures on demons. So if you want to pressure a spirit, get righteous, and that will cause it to manifest eventually. Good question. But to answer this gentleman's question about weed, okay, I got a few thoughts on that. I got a few pages of notes I was planning. Someone else had messaged me, by the way, over on Instagram. By the way, feel free to follow me on IG at Doug King Jabez. You can send some questions over there. Guys like to give me messages over there. They sometimes send me videos that I can watch and review to give perspective to different topics. And so one of the questions they asked me was about weed smoke and being on retention. This is a question a lot of guys have. And so you have THC and then you have CBD. THC is what gets you high, and you have CBD, which relaxes you and helps you to deal with the pain. And so you have medical marijuana, of course, which is CBD, and then you have the THC, which gets you high, which is essentially recreational use versus prescribed medication. If you lose total control of yourself, that is a sign of sin with anything. And so another mark of demonic activity is a loss of control. And so this is why we use the word sorcery, for example. Drug usage can become, okay, key word is can. I'm not saying that's what you have here, but it can become a form of sorcery or witchcraft, which is essentially mind control. So if you are, say, for example, a person who smokes weed, not saying this to you, I don't know you, I'm just throwing something out there, and you lose complete control, that's a sign of something you should not be doing. If it is becoming a weight on your personal finances, that's a sign of something you should not be doing. If you are not as sound in your thinking while high as you are when you are sober, that's something you should consider, brother. And I think that's a great question, by the way, with today's topic of the Christ oil and explaining what that really means and cultivating your true spirituality, tapped into your masculinity and really developing as a man. And so this is a great question because we're in that arena today in terms of consciousness, your mind, higher learning, thinking and whatnot. So this is something that I think is a great question with today's topic. Some verses to keep in mind. I want you to read these verses. I won't read all of them now because I don't have my Bible before me, but I'll give you a few verses that can help you to get perspective as well. 1 Corinthians 5:11, 1 Peter 4:17, Ephesians 5:18. This is talking about control. Okay. And then you have, the question I would have is when you're smoking weed, why? Is this something you do to deal with depression? Do you smoke weed because you're bored? Do you do it to help you calm your nerves? What's your motive? I tell you guys, I was at the gym one day and there was a woman in there, a young woman. This is like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And she was reeking like marijuana first thing in the morning. That's extreme to me. I don't think you should have a need or a desire to have marijuana first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? So to me, that's a sign that this has now become an imbalance, right? So those are a few thoughts. A study, this is some more notes, a study by the Journal of Neuroscience stated that even a casual use of weed can lead to changes in the brain and mental illness. Now, this is not me saying that whoever smokes weed is mentally ill. There are successful people who smoke weed. First one comes to my mind is Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle was a successful businessman, right? Who built his brand, the Marathon, known all over the world. He had people coming to his shop from China, from all across the world. Respected him as a creative person, an entrepreneur slash businessman, right? So here was an individual who clearly didn't allow his weed addiction or weed smoke habit, whatever you want to call it, to destroy his life. And so no one is here suggesting that if you smoke weed, it's going to mess your life up. It probably won't. However, will this lead to other drugs? These are just questions you got to ask. Will this lead to other addictions? Are you your best self when you smoke weed? These are all questions. So it's very difficult to answer that and to say flat out is wrong. I guess it's wrong based on how you use it, right? Is right or wrong based on the individual, the need, the purpose. Is it for medical purposes? Is this something you do every day? Those are a lot of questions you got to ask yourself. And so I would say, in terms of my opinion, smoking too much weed, of course, can lead to laziness and inability to concentrate. And let's just say it doesn't necessarily lead to clearer thinking. And so those are just a few of my thoughts on that. And again, that's a decision you have to make yourself and ask yourself those questions, right? I gave you about 10 questions to ask yourself within this short segment on this topic. So good question, man. Thanks for reaching out and asking that. All right, guys, as you come into the chat, please hit that like button. We got about 60 guys here. Please hit the like button for me. Been trying to kick this habit now for 3 years now. You can do it. I stopped. I stopped at one cold turkey some years ago. It will be difficult at first, like any addiction. But it's very possible, man. I think once again, something I've stated before in the past, and that is putting your purpose over pleasure. And so you have to yourself as a man figure out what is your purpose, what is your passion, and your why. It is better for a 40-plus-year-old to smoke weed since their brains are fully matured. I'm not sure what to think about that. So, you have to put your purpose over pleasure, and you have to figure out your why. Why do you want to stop? And if your why is big enough, that should serve as motivation and encouragement to make that decision. So that's what I would say to that. Now, guys, we got about enough guys here now for me to get into the message. As you guys come in, hit the like button. We got 20 likes here, about 60 guys here. Hit the like button. Hit that like button. Takes you about 3 to 5 seconds. Guys, let's talk about the journey of retention and the sacred secretion. This is something that I believe will be very helpful for you men who are on this journey. I think this will give you, and I think what it does is it really gives some teeth to what I've been teaching. I've never quite addressed it from this perspective. So as we go through this, I got about 4 or 5 pages of notes. I spent some time the last few days studying this, researching, reflecting. So the sacred secretion is referred to as the Christ within, or the Christ oil. The reason that oil is such a buzzword or important word in the Word of God. Oil is a symbol of anointing. Often, for example, when the Old Testament Hebrew kings were anointed to become a king, they would place oil over the head. When a man was chosen to be a priest, when he was chosen to be a prophet, they were often anointed with oil. So oil is a symbol that you are being set apart for something that is important, right? And so when you are being set apart by the Most High to do something special, when you are a chosen one, right? I've done a lot of videos about being a chosen one and the signs for that and what it means to be a person of that type of caliber. When you are chosen by the Most High to do something special, he would often use oil to anoint that person. This is why David says, my cup runs over. He anoints my head with oil. So refer to this substance within the male body as the sacred secretion. Secretion is actually where we get the word secret from. Did you know that? Sacred and secret, secretion, these are all similar words. And is essentially referred to this fluid that ascends or descends along the nervous system of a man. Did you know that? And so when you are on retention, this is reabsorbed into the body. And this is what helps you to be more poised, more confident. In other words, there is something to this journey we've been talking about. We're not just online having these talks about retention just to give views. I want you men to really understand this. When you do this, you are tapped into some sacred stuff, man. And this is why it's so hard, I believe, for so many men to do this. Because when you actually do this, get on this journey and get serious is 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, you will completely transform your life. Let me talk to you for a second. This ointment nourishes the pineal gland in the brain, right? And that gland in the brain is what is going to help you to have a higher consciousness. And when this happens, literally, there are millions of brain cells and nerves that are dormant, that are awakened in your mind. Retention is reality shifting. That's why it's a rare practice to master. So you are shifting yourself as a man, both physically, spiritually, as well as emotionally. So this is one of the rare practices for a man that's going to have an impact on you from a physical perspective, biological, okay, as well as the spirit, as well as, your emotions, your thinking, your logic. This affects your whole being. So when you retain the life essence, this ointment, or the Christ oil, I think that's a very powerful way to put this. The Christ oil circulates through your body. And when a man is doing this, this explains the glow. This explains the mental clarity. This will explain why you're able to draw people to you. Why? You have an aura about yourself now. I've seen people say that they contact their muscles in the lower body to aid going up the spine. Is there any truth to that? I've heard that before myself. That's possible. I don't necessarily do that, but that may be helpful. I don't know. I think if you're practicing this journey and you are staying consistent, you will definitely experience the benefits. I can say that for a fact. And so think about, for example, Santa Claus. This is the way that I was studying this, the way it was explained to me. You have Santa Claus bringing gifts from the North Pole down the chimney and then returning, right? In the center of the brain, you have something that is referred to as the claustrum. C-L-A-U-S-T-R-U-M. C-L-A-U-S-T-R-U-M, for those who are taking notes. So in the center of the brain, you have something referred to as the claustrum. And this is what is responsible for receiving that cerebral spinal fluid, okay? Or the CSF. So if you're taking notes, write that down, cerebral spinal fluid. This is what travels up the spine, and get this, up the 33 vertebrae. So think about this. If we think about, we're referring to this as the Christ oil, right? I want you to picture this. So you have a man, 20 years of age, 25, 30, 35 years of age, 40 for the matter, 45. And they are practicing this discipline called semen retention. What happens to you on a biological level? Because many guys say, okay, is this just bro science? No, it's not. Something that is studied even in secret societies. They understand this. And guys, I want to be careful with communicating this, because this is knowledge that was hidden from people for many years. Those who are in these secret societies and elite groups, they hide this information from the masses. They don't want men to understand this. There are people in power who do not want thousands, if not millions of men all over the earth operating in their true self. Think about this. If what I just said, I just communicated a whole lot if you're listening. If what I just said is correct, when you practice this discipline of retention, I'm going to recap what I said so far, because I want you to process all of this. When this cerebral spinal fluid travels up your body, your spinal cord, right, which is an extension of your brain, the ascending, descending, the cerebral spinal fluid, right, or the Christ oil, this ointment, literally leaves the brain, travels down the spine, and when you retain your essence, this is what happens when you retain. You need to understand what's happening to you on a biological level. This is why you feel completely different after a month of retaining. Okay? If you say, I don't believe in all this stuff, retain it for 30 days and tell me you don't believe in it. You wouldn't say that again. So when you actually do this, literally this fluid is in your body. And most guys are not doing this, by the way. Somebody said, I heard you say something about the spine the other day and I was temporarily paralyzed. So I didn't get a chance to read all of that. Doing all the other things that I should do. So when you're doing this, literally you're going to nourish your brain. And in nourishing your brain, you're going to essentially, for lack of a better word, awaken. Appreciate that. How can I retain when I'm in a relationship? Thanks. I have a video on that for 10 minutes. You watch the video. I have a video entitled Every Man Who's Married Should Be on Retention. That'll answer that question. Retention cured my social anxiety. I believe it will, because it gives you mental clarity. It helps you to think clearer. It helps you to process your thoughts. And that's what we're talking about right now with this particular teaching. This will help you to awaken, for lack of a better word, or to arise those dormant brain cells, right? That were dormant. This oil now nourishes the brain. This is what happens to guys. And so many guys are lacking nourishment to their brains. Okay? And this is why you got some guys who walk around and can't process anything, can't process complex information, don't have the discipline to read every day. I'm teaching for a second here now. Why? Because we have been conditioned through the society we live in to be undisciplined in the area of our sex life. And the lack of discipline with your sex life, particularly with your seed as a man. This leads to, I believe, mental illness. This leads to a lack of productivity, and you most certainly will not have the sharpest brain that is possible for you as a man. And so I do believe that when you do this the right way, you will get to a place where as a man, you sharpen your thinking. I can tell just from the comment section on a lot of my videos that there not just on IG, not just here on YouTube, but on Instagram as well as social media worldwide, there are a lot of men and women whose minds are messed up. This is what happens when you consistently fill your mind with that bad content. Okay? A lot of you guys are on your phone too much. You're watching it too much. You're watching corn sites, and that stuff is warping your brain. So much so that when someone's trying to give you knowledge or wisdom, you can't even receive it. You have to resort to jokes. You have to resort to condescending statements because you're not in a high enough vibration to even receive the knowledge. This is what's happened to humanity. And this is exactly what those who are in power want in these last days. So, this being said, the sacred secretion, this happens once a month, and this is also in alignment with the moon resting. So I thought that was very interesting that there is a direct connection with your body as a man. I thought this was powerful to me. This is profound to me. There's a direct connection with your body, biology, as a man, with the universe, the moon, the Most High God. I find it to be very profound. And I think that when you do this, in other words, I don't think anything. Let me stop saying I think. I know. Let me stop saying think. Let me clarify this. We have about 100 guys here, 45 likes. Hit the like button. If you are a supporter, hit the like button. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to do that. Get those likes up. I got to tell you flat out. You're supposed to do it automatically yourself. Trust me on that. He helped me get my life together. Listen up, fellas. Hit the like button, guys. I got to flat out tell you. I shouldn't have to ask you this question, guys. I'm teaching you all this knowledge. Hit the like button. Let's go. I shouldn't have to ask you that. Okay? Help me out. Help me out. Help me out. It's not that hard. Okay? So, when you do this, what happens is that you will, somebody said, fast hit the like button. Why are you, we appreciate you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Selfish by JH. Spot on. Let me say this. I want to get this thought out. I want to get this thought out, guys. I want you to receive this. I think this will help you out. Okay, I know this. Matter of fact, I know this will help you out. Somebody said, I'm trying to find a video on how relationships, look for later, brother. You're stuck there, man. Let that go. Let that go, brother. We'll look for it later. Listen to what I'm saying right now, okay? We're stuck. Get past that. When you do this, This will help you to align yourself with God as well as the creation and humanity as a whole. So what happens to you as a man when you hold on to your seed, when you discipline yourself? We're having a man conversation here. When you hold on to your life essence, right? What do you gain? Here's the word I want you to write down. I want you to write this word down. Okay, take notes, learn something. Alignment. Okay, alignment. In other words, you align yourself with God. You align yourself with the created order itself, the earth, the moon, the stars. That's all united. Okay, the earth was made to be inhabited by people. And so what happens to us as men when we do the thing and when we carry ourselves in a way that is pure or righteous, this helps you to essentially be in step alignment with God's created order. Think about that. So if that is true, then the opposite is also true. When you are out of order, you're offbeat. Right? So when you are out of order, you're offbeat with God, with the universe itself, and with other people. And this creates a friction because there's an imbalance. We are created beings. And one of the first teachings, somebody said, shout out from Brazil, appreciate that. Appreciate the comments. One of the first thoughts or truths that is revealed in Genesis is that man is created in the image of God. So if that is the case, a part of that is to be powerful, to be righteous, to have strength, to have this good aura and vibe about yourself. And men lack that when they lack spiritual and sexual discipline. Okay? So, to continue this teaching, there is an egg-shaped nerve in your brain, okay, that receives this oil. And when this happens, millions of brain cells are awakened, and this is what we refer to in the community as mental clarity. So there is an egg-shaped cell, or nerve rather, in your brain that receives this Christ oil, right, or the sacred secretion, and this happens once a month. And when that happens, this helps to awaken millions of brain cells. Now, the results of this, and you say, okay, all right, if that happens, what are the results, right? If I do this, what do I gain? The results of that, write this down, is creative energy, right? Creative output, building your brand, pursuit of higher education, right? Another key word here, keywords here, driven. Okay, so when this process happens and you're in alignment with God, you are in alignment with the created order, and you are in alignment with yourself. Okay, what happens is as I've said before, you go back to your default setting as a man, and your default setting as a man is something called confidence, creative output. And so this is going to help you to get things done. You cannot convince me that you are on retention. Thanks for writing that out in the comment section, brother. Driven, creative output, business, goals, getting things done. You cannot tell me you are on retention and you're dormant. That does not work that way, guys. You are not on your phone at home looking at bad stuff all day long if you are on retention. Retention has a way of getting you on your square. Okay? And we're seeing today, from this talk today, what happens is what? You're aligning yourself biologically. So this is not just default setting. Thank you, brother. You're going back to your default. See, what has happened to us, men, we have allowed this overly sexualized culture to mess us up. And this overly sexualized culture messes the mind up if you allow it to. If you allow it to, because at the end of the day, it's your choice. You have free will. And this is exactly what the elites want. They want men who are off, because men who are off are easy to control. Men who are off are not a threat to the establishment. Men who are off are not necessarily or normally innovative, creative people, guys who get things done. Okay? So when you begin to practice this, if you are serious, now if you're playing games and you're one of them guys, okay, say, all right, I can't get past a week. No, you get serious. If you're one of the guys you're actually serious about this, this is something I learned from a well-known public speaker. I won't say his name. The first thing you got to do, the first thing, right? Ain't that a very popular statement online? The first thing that you have to do when you have goals, when you have a dream, when you have a vision, what's the first step? Get serious about it. Okay? So if we're talking about this idea of seed retention, the first step, guys, is to get serious. You can watch, you understand me? Some of you guys do this. Some of you guys have watched 1,000 no-fap videos. You know what I mean? You watch these videos all day, and you still cannot put together a 30-day streak, a 60-day streak. You haven't crossed over to the 90 days yet. It's not a judgment. It's that's an obvious assessment. What am I saying? Get serious, man. Get serious enough to delete those apps on your phone. Get serious enough to make a decision to read a book each month, 2 a month, whatever. Get serious enough to change your diet, to change your sleep routine, if need be. If your struggle is at night, don't have your phone in the bed. Find ways to go down the righteous path. There's an old saying I've used before: if you don't want to fall, then don't go into slippery places. You feel me? If you want to be successful with this journey, learn from your previous mistakes. Somebody says, awesome when you can really feel the energy and strength build each day, like a snowball effect. Absolutely. You hear what he's saying? You can motivate yourself when you see that progression, when you see yourself improving 1% each day. That progression helps you to keep going forward. Kind of like building a pyramid, for example. If you built a pyramid, how would you build it? One stone at a time. So look at each day on your journey as another stone in this pyramid that you're building. That's just an analogy for you. And when you think of it that way, you encourage yourself to go forward and to improve the next day. So part of the journey is to also learn from previous mistakes, right? And not to make those same mistakes again. That will help you on your journey. So we talked about the results, creative energy, output, building, pursuit of education, pursuit of knowledge. That has been my experience. I find it difficult to believe that a man can be on a retention streak and not have a desire for knowledge. That's why you guys are here today watching this live. You have a desire to gain knowledge. Why? Knowledge is power. With information, you make good decisions, right? So you have this whole process of knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is referring to the facts or the information. Wisdom is the ability to put that knowledge and facts into practice. So what I'm doing right now in this talk, I'm giving you some knowledge, right? I'm giving you some free game on YouTube. I'm teaching you something that you may not have heard before, right? I didn't know about this. So this is something that was new to me, to really look at this journey that way, to see how, and I kind of knew this, but to see it in writing and to read this and to study this and to reflect and to write down 4 or 5 pages of notes, it really encouraged me. Let me speak for myself for a second. This really encouraged me on my current streak, right? I'm currently on a streak right now, and reading this, learning this information really puts some more teeth into this current streak for me. For the first time in my life, I am experiencing sustained peace, 5+ months of retention, man. Congratulations. I'm glad you're experiencing that. That is one of the benefits of the journey, by the way, is that peace of mind, knowing that you are doing the right thing. What's up, man? Benny Broski, good to see you, brother. Knowing you're doing the right thing, knowing that you're on the right path, that peace is something that's so important for you. Somebody says, I'm currently 22, have a wife and a son. I want to know how I can handle this energy in that situation. I have a wife and 3 children. And so retention is most certainly for men with women and children. Why? Because you need all of your energy. You need energy to work for your family, to provide, to give guidance, leadership. So retention is most certainly for you, sir. How do you stay consistent on the path of retention? How do you stay consistent? That, I think that question goes back to, for those who just entered the chat, I think I answered it earlier in this talk. You have to have a why. Your why has to be big enough, right? And that's a good question. And I'll answer it this way. Think about famous men on a journey. For example, Muhammad Ali's first one comes to my mind. Muhammad Ali, from my research, would retain for up to 60 days before a fight. What was his why? His why was, I want to win this fight 60 days. And he was so focused on that he says, you know what? I am going to discipline myself with this path of retention for 60 days because I want to win this fight. That was his purpose. Someone like, for example, Nikola Tesla, after whom we named the Teslas, vehicles. Nikola Tesla, he said that celibacy spurs on the brain. So he was someone who practiced retention, or in his case, lifetime unbroken celibacy, because he wanted to be a well-known inventor. He got he had a pleasure and a fulfillment in discovering, right, and creating new inventions. And so that was his purpose. And so someone like Nikola Tesla retained because he wanted to have the sharpest mind possible. And it was also Nikola Tesla, if I'm not mistaken, this is not an exact quote, but he said something along the lines that when you think about the earth, think of the earth and the universe in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency, right? So if we're thinking about the earth itself, humanity, people, the moon, the stars, the animal kingdom, if we're considering all of that, think of it in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. If that is true, then it would be wise for me as a man to be conscious of my sexual energy. Right? Think of that. If what Nikola Tesla is saying is true, which I believe it is, energy, frequency, vibration, all that we see with the created eye, creation itself with our natural eyes, if that is true, then it is most certainly wise, it is prudent for me, especially in these last days when the energy is so bad out here. Okay, let me say that the energy out here is so bad with so many people. There are so many people, man, who have such a low vibration. You know what I mean? And you feel the energy right away. Some people out here are just off, and you have to wonder to yourself, what are they doing in their private lives to act that way? Right? So when you feel that energy, energy is real. So I think it's wise for us as men to be conscious of our energy. And not only that, because that's a good question, by the way. That's why I'm spending some time answering this. To be conscious of that, but to be motivated enough to do something about it. And, once you get a long streak going, guys, you get a month or two streak going, and that's hard to do, by the way. That is not easy to do. I've done my research. Most guys don't make it past 3 weeks. And that's not a judgment. That's something I learned from observation and study. When you get past 3 weeks of retention, you get to a month, you get to your first, 90 days, right? You crack 90 days finally. Some of you guys, that should be your goal, to get to 90 days, at least once in your lifetime. If you never got to 90 days, guys, make that a goal, guys. Make that a goal. 2 months in, great job, brother. Keep going, man. You're almost there. 3 weeks in was a hard point for me. Absolutely. I tell you, man, around that second and third, that third and fourth week can be very difficult. The first 2 weeks, you can get through that by pure motivation. But around like day 14 to like 30, that's when the sexual desire, at least for me, I'm a man like you are. We're all men here talking. That sexual desire gets strong, right? And that's when you got to be focused. That's when you got to pray, the cold showers, the gym 4 or 5 times a week, meditation, whatever's necessary. So to answer your question, brother, I think the answer is, what is your why, right? We talked about Ali, Nikola Tesla, their reason for it. Being conscious of our energy as men is so important, I would say, to add to that. And I would say, to be honest, the results. When you begin to see the positive results from this journey, that's going to motivate you to go further, right? When those blessings come in, because what I believe, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but I'll touch on it briefly. Um, Hold on, guys. Can you guys hear me? There was a brief freeze that happens. You know what? I'm not gonna let that bother me. But we're back, guys, and let's get back on track with this message. Let me say this: a sense of purpose. We're back on track now. In higher consciousness, greater intuition. In other words, you become like a tree, right? Here's what the scripture says in Psalms 1 of the blessed man. Somebody says, at least trying to shut down Big Bro. I don't know what that was, man. And so here's what happened and now the sunlight's in. Let's switch this up a little bit. Hold on, guys. Let's be patient here. Give me a second. Let's get this right. The sun is too bright on me. Let's do this right here. I think that should be fine. So what happens, guys, is that as you continue on this journey, you become like a tree. Think about this. The scripture says in Psalms 1 that the righteous man becomes like a tree that prospers and brings forth fruit. That's what you want to have as a man. You want to have fruit. You want to have a positive outcome or result. So a motivation for you guys, come back in. Some of you guys left, about 15 of you left. Come back in, guys, or I'm still here. Brief pause. A part of the motivation for you on this journey is when you see the fruit. I'm trying to answer. I hope that brother's still here that was in the chat. When you see the fruit, when you see the outcome, when you see the money coming in, when you see a change in your appearance, when you see you begin to hit your fitness goals, when you begin to see the change in your spirituality, your prayers are being answered, when you begin to see the fruit, that can be a very strong motivation for you on the journey. So the sense of purpose, higher consciousness, and a greater intuition are some of the benefits you experience when you go through this process we are referring to, and we are learning is called the sacred secretion, or maintaining the Christ oil within you, right? So for those who are just coming into this conversation, today we're talking about the journey of seed retention in the teaching of the Christ oil. And this is the ointment that essentially travels through your body as a man, okay? When you hold on to your seat. And what happens is this ointment literally travels up the spine to the brain, and it nourishes the gland in your brain that's shaped like an egg. And this can lead to enlightenment. This leads to clarity in your thoughts. This leads to an awakening of millions of brain cells that may be dormant. And it's something that will help you to go forward on your journey, okay? So when I refer to us as men becoming like trees, what am I saying? A tree cleans the air. Trees filter the water, and trees slow down the streams of floods. So a tree filters the air. It slows down the flow of water, and essentially serves as a regulator. Someone says, Brother Iron, when you are on retention, do all the impurity demons start to leave in the mind and body? Well, it's not quite that simple, to be honest. You will experience some deliverance. You will experience some breakthrough, but it does take more than the practice of retention and nofap to deal with unclean spirits. Now we're talking about generational curses. We're referring to strongholds now. And so this will help you, but by itself, it won't be the only solution. So we'll be hopeful on the journey. So let's talk about, for example, now, as we talk about the result or the outcome, what are the benefits of doing this? Here are the benefits. Getting stronger, okay? Getting stairs, female attraction. This is what you'll experience rather on the journey. What will you experience if you hold on to your life essence for 30 to 90 days? Somebody says, I feel like a dog when in retention and have no girlfriend. Any ideas? If that's the case, you have to practice transmutation. And so we're going to talk about that right now. How do you transmute the energy in a way that is productive for you as a man? And part of that is what we're talking about today, which is essentially allowing the Christ oil or the sacred secretion to travel in your body, to maintain that essence and to nourish the brain. And that leads to higher consciousness, that leads to mental clarity. And this has to lead you to a place of reaching a new level spiritually, physically, and emotionally. So here are some of the results or the outcome of a man who is on this journey. You will get stares. You will become stronger physically. Female attraction. You may experience jealousy from other men, and in many cases, respect from other men. You will have an attraction and you will begin to manifest. Good omens will come into your life. You will be able to stand on a masculine base. Convictions for God will increase. Better sleep. You will have an extreme focus, better meditations. You will experience life versus being numb. And the secret comes from the secretion. In other words, you will begin to have a new level of spirituality. And you will also experience leadership opportunities / leadership development. And I would say, to kind of like summarize all of this, you will level up. Okay, you will level up. So let's kind of take some time now and break some of this down. We talked about the secretion being the Christ oil, right? So what is oil here? Oil is a representation of anointing. Your posture improves too. Absolutely. All that improves. Your posture will improve. Guys, I'm going to take this time now. Give me a second here. I'm going to move because the sunlight's throwing me off. I want to be able to focus on what I'm saying. Be patient with me. I'm going to redirect this. I want to be in a place where I can focus on what I'm saying. As you guys come in, guys, hit that like button. You guys who are coming in, hit the like button. Hit the like button as we wrap this up. We're about 45 minutes in. We had a brief pause for a second. Here we go. I like that angle. Let's get to it. Let's get it. So, we're kind of answering the question now, why? But before I get into that, let's talk about some of the terminology I've used. Biology. Biology is the study of living organisms. So this is biology. We're talking about alchemy or a medieval form of chemistry. So when we talk about the sacred secretion and this being the ointment in a man, we're talking about your biology. We're talking about your physical anatomy. And we think about that, the way God created us. And the reason, guys, I personally think this is so interesting. The fact that we have 33 vertebrae, that's the amount of years Jesus was on the earth. The whole concept of ascension, descension is also another biblical terminology. And did you know that one of the nerves in your body is actually shaped like the Ark of the Covenant? And so with that being said, there is a picture. This is in your body as a man. This is how you know God cares about you personally. There is a picture of the Ark of the Covenant that's involved in all this, with the wings of the angels open and everything. And this is what happens when an ointment travels. It essentially enters into the holies of holies in your own brain. Think about that. So you have a picture of heaven, of God and his throne that is in your body as a man. This is what tells you that you are a divine being. I want you guys to really process this. That tells you how important we are to God. Did you know that about yourself? 33 vertebrae. That's the same amount of years Jesus was on the earth. The picture of the Ark of the Covenant that's in your body, the angel's wings and all, the ointment traveling to the holies of holies, which is your brain, that gland that's shaped like an egg. And when that is nourished with the Christ oil, this is referred to, by the way, in the Greek as Christos. Did you know that? Christos. For those who are taking notes, this cerebral spinal fluid, or the ointment or oil, is referred to in the Greek as Christos. Christos. Christ. So this is like, I'm telling you guys, I get excited about this. This is literally like Christ in you. So it is a picture of the Messiah inside of every man's body. And this is why the scripture says that we as people are created in the image of God. He meant that. So in you is the image or the mark the symbol, the picture of God. The 33 vertebrae are a picture of the 33 years of Jesus Christ. The cerebral spinal fluid is a picture of oil. What is oil a picture of? Oil is a picture of spirit, being set apart, being anointed. And somebody says, please make a video on this with pictures. And when you do this, you are essentially setting yourself apart to be used or to be a chosen one for the Most High God. So when a man practices retention, you are entering into some divine stuff, man. This is not a plaything. You are essentially being set apart for special use. You are aligning yourself with the Most High. Think about it. This is serious, guys. You're aligning yourself with God. You are becoming like the angels. All these talks I've had, I meant all that, guys. This message today to me is in alignment with everything I've been teaching for 3 years now. What I've been teaching: prayer, holiness, having yourself aligned with God, mental clarity, vision, purpose, daily reading, working out, being a man on your game. We talked about all this stuff, and this message today is in alignment with all of that. There's absolutely no contradiction. So once again, the sacred secretion. This is where we get the word secret from, by the way. Secret comes from the word secretion. The sacred secretion, or the cerebral spinal fluid, in the Greek is referred to as Christos, or the Christ within you. And when you're able to retain this life essence, this will help you to experience some of these benefits. And this explains, by the way, why you get stares. There are so many guys who say, man, when I'm on retention, people will be staring at me, man. It'd be women, other men stare, children are more gravitate towards me. Why? Because your energy is high. You have a positive vibe. In other words, you have the God energy in you. That's what it really is. That Christos, or that cerebral spinal fluid that is in you as a man, that has a vibe about that. And that vibe will have people gravitating to you. This is why you get phone calls out of nowhere. Somebody says you actually have an aura right now. Yeah, I'm on a streak right now, guys. I'm 30 plus days. I'm practicing what I preach. And so I'm on this journey right now. And I see this when I'm out there in public. People stare. People will ask you questions. People are nicer to you. Why? Because you literally have the God energy in you. That's what this is. You have that Christos, or that Christ oil within you. And that explains why people stare. This is why you get stronger spiritually, right? This is why your meditations are deeper. This is why your prayer life is more profound. And on a physical level, this is why you're able to grow a bigger beard. I've been growing my beard now, by the way, guys, 2 years today. As you can see, I got it trimmed on the side. I go to the barber, get a taper on both sides or whatnot. I get it trimmed, but I've grown this nice, healthy beard. Retention does help you with beard growth, by the way. I'm going to do a whole video talking about beard growth and what it symbolizes, okay? All this is important, guys. And so we're on this journey of retention, beard growth, muscle development, getting stronger physically. All of this is a part of the journey to become what? To become the priest, provider, and protector that you have been chosen by God to be. That's the purpose of all of this. This is designed, let me talk to you, look right at you, to make you a priest, provider, and protector for your tribe. Who is your tribe? Your wife, your children, your family, your co-workers. This helps you to be a stable force in your community, okay? And that explains why you will begin to experience female attraction. Why? Women read vibes very well. They have to, as the physically weaker sex. So as the physically weaker sex, they have to read a man's energy to protect themselves. They don't have the physical strength that men have to defend themselves against other men. So they have to use intuition. They have to use vibes. So a woman can pick up on your vibe when you are on retention. She will feel safe. Women will tell you that. They'll feel comfortable talking to you. Why? Because your energy says this guy is healthy. 40 plus days, man. Congratulations, brother. That's really good, man. That's not easy to do. So congrats on that. Keep on going, man. Get to 90, man. You can do it. Get to 90. Go in and have that full transformation. Okay? So you'll have female attraction. You will experience, and I want to give you this warning, in some cases, jealousy from other men. So you will have guys who will want to challenge you. I went through some of this. Guys, they'll feel some type of way about you, and they won't even know why. And they'll think it's because you're arrogant. Who does this guy think he is? This guy's cocky. And what it really is that your aura and energy is higher than theirs. Jonathan says 159 days today, man. Congrats, brother. That's great, man. That's really good, brother, man. Keep 106 days today almost. So keep going, brother. Man, get to a year, man. Officially 6 months in. Man, that's great, brother. That really is. I'm glad that you see, guys, I love hearing these testimonies. And I think that today's talk will serve as a motivation to continue your path. For those who are coming in right now, I'm going to save this video. And I want all the guys who watch this video, when I record this and upload it, to sit down and listen to the whole talk. And I think this teaching, this is sacred knowledge, by the way, guys. This is knowledge that the elites don't want us to have. This is not just some fly-by-night stuff today, guys. This is heavy duty today, guys. This is the real deal. This type of knowledge is designed to be life transformational. Okay? You should not hear this talk. Let me say something. You should not hear this talk today, guys, and do nothing with it. This ain't that type of talk. This is the talk that requires action. This is the talk, guys, that should motivate you to continue your streak, right? This is the talk. Because I'm not just here talking, just talk. What's the purpose of this? Motivation, inspiration, knowledge, which is power, truth, right? Jesus says you should know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So if you understand this about yourself as a man, you should most certainly be motivated, guys. Spread this word. Share this message. This is a message you should share. This is a word that needs to go out to other guys, to inspire me, to wake guys up, to bring them out of that place of arrested development. Right? You guys who have been following me for a while now, right? I did a talk a while ago about arrested development. And I believe that a lot of men experience the demon of arrested development because they refuse to cultivate their life energy. A lot of men are experiencing the path of arrested development because for whatever reason, they refuse to cultivate their sexual energy. They refuse to hold on to the Christ oil. I'm telling you something, man. I'm telling you in this talk that you have something. Listen, guys. I'm sitting here telling you, man to man, that you have something in you that is referred to as Christ oil. Think about that. Think about how serious that is. You have this Christ oil in you. You can't just waste that looking on some screen on your phone, guys. We got to get away from the corn sites. Let me talk to you for a second. Let me get on your bump for a second, guys. Let me get on your heels for a second, guys. We got to get off these sites, guys. We got to stop losing our seat. We have to stop watching corn. I'm going to talk to you. I'm your big brother, right? I'm big bro, right? We got to tighten up. We are in the last days, guys. And God is watching us. We have all this information. We have all this knowledge. It's time for us as men to tighten up. Amen, somebody. To get our strength back. I'm trying to talk to you. To get your strength back. Get your confidence back. Regain that masculine frame that you're supposed to have. Get that aura, that vibe that will make people respect you, that will bring good things into your life, right? That will bring honor your way. That's what we want as men, right? We want what? Honor. We want riches. We want favor. If you are a man like me, you more than likely want honor, favor, riches. Here's what the word of God says. Let me give you the word for a second. You know this, I know I'm going to take you to the book. This big brother, I know I'm going to take you to the book. The book says, by humility in the fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life. So if you want to have riches, honor, and life, hold on to your life essence. If you want to have riches and honor in life, then cultivate the Christ oil within you. Nourish your brain. Have a fully functioning brain. Okay? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being dead serious. Have your brain operating the right way, guys. And we can't do that as men if we're losing our seed every day. If you just busting every day, losing and going crazy, you can't have the true, what's the proper word here? Virtue that you are capable of as a man. And guys, you will surprise yourself. You want to surprise yourself? Go on a lone streak and watch how your whole life just changes. You will be a new man. You won't even recognize yourself anymore. You're going to look in the mirror one day, brothers, and not even know who you are. That's what's going to happen to you. That's the power that is in you, guys. You won't even recognize yourself, man. You hear me? 6 months from now, you will be a different man. That's how much confidence I have in this journey. I am convinced that if you can do this consistently for 3 months to 6 months, you'll be a new man. You will look different. You're going to act different. You're most certainly going to think different. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the mind today more than anything. You're going to think differently, right? You're going to be a new guy. Man, people will recognize you. Your family will recognize you. You know, you will. Your coworkers will be wondering, man, what's going on? This guy's different. Your whole vibe's gonna be different, bro. Your whole vibe, energy, your disposition. You'll walk with more confidence. Your back will be straight. You know what I mean? You're gonna be a new man. That's how powerful this is, guys. Let's continue. Manifesting. A lot of you guys, because I study what you guys are watching, by the way. All YouTubers do that, by the way. All YouTubers have knowledge of what you guys are watching. Okay? And rightfully so, a lot of you guys are watching videos about the law of attraction. That makes sense to me. You know, you're trying to attract positive things, right? Who doesn't want that? If you are a guy who wants, and I know you want this because you're a man, opportunities, success in your life, you know what I mean? Finances, a beautiful woman, good things, then most certainly this journey will help you do that. This practice will help you manifest good things. I have experienced it firsthand in my life. You will have a more masculine base. In other words, you will be masculine the right way. You won't have to bully people. We're not talking about bullying people. We're not talking about intimidation. We're not talking about, you know what I mean, trying to disrespect people, nothing like that. Excuse me. We're talking about really tapping into your true divine masculinity. When you are assertive yet kind, when you are strong yet compassionate, you have a balance. You truly become like the Messiah. You become the lion and the lamb. This is what happens when you retain your seed long term. You truly become the lion and the lamb. In other words, you become a balanced man. Masculinity is both tender and tough. The lion on one hand and the lamb on one hand. If you're always a lamb, then you're someone who is soft that people don't respect. If you're always a lion, you tend to be to overdo things, to intimidate people, and to run over others. But with God's assistance and with this journey of cultivating the Christ oil within you, you begin to balance it all out, and there's a perfect blend of tenderness yet tough. The lion and the lamb, and that is cultivating true masculinity, right? That's the benefit, and that's something you will experience about 50 to 60 days in. If you want to experience that new level of masculinity and yourself as a man, hold on for about 50 to 60 days. Around that 50 to 60 day mark, you will experience a new level of masculinity. Okay? Connection to God. If this is referred to as the Christ oil, right, you will most certainly be closer to God if you do this. That's been my experience. You will have an awakening. There will be a connection with God and also the universe itself, the created order. You will have an alignment with the creator as well as the creation. That has been my experience. Better sleep. If you are a guy who has trouble sleeping, if you are on retention for several months, your sleep will improve. You will have more quality sleep and deep rest. And that's because your systems are being renewed. The systems in the body are being renewed during retention. I do believe that. The organs, the blood is nourishing your body. And so that's going to, of course, lead to better rest, better muscle recovery for those who are lifting weights. I don't know if I would say an increase in testosterone, but from what I've researched, what happens is the androgen receptors, right? The androgen receptors in the brain, those receptors become more sensitive to testosterone when you're on retention. And so your body will be more easily rather be able to utilize and to use that testosterone. Well, use the same thing, double negative. You'll be able to utilize that testosterone because the estrogen receptors are more sensitive, and these receptors become more sensitive about 15 days in. Okay, I'm trying to give you a goal here, guys. If you want to experience what I'm talking about 15 days in, boom, you will experience an increase in testosterone, right? They become more sensitive, and this helps you to utilize and use testosterone. We know the benefits of testosterone increase, right? 60 days in, 50, 60, you have a more masculine base. You have a clearer way of thinking. Your mental clarity will be on point. Better meditations, right? You will have a life versus numbness. A lot of guys are living their lives kind of just numb, kind of callous. There are a lot of men, and I understand this as a man, you can kind of become cold based on the harshness of your life, the harshness of your job, especially if you're working blue collar work when you're grinding 40, 50, 60 hours a week. It can be difficult to be a nice guy, right? To be kind to people. And so what happens when you are retaining, you will have more life in you, literally. And so you won't walk around kind of as this callous, kind of numb guy that so many people become. It will help you to be really more enjoyable to be around, to be honest. You will be more enjoyable. You will have moments in your streak when you battle anger. That's going to happen. You're going to have moments when you battle temptation and rage, to be honest. It's going to happen. But I would say, in addition to that, over time, you will be a person, you will become a man who is more enjoyable to be around. And lastly, there will be a time of leadership development / opportunity. If you are on this journey long term, you will get to a place where you grow as a leader, and that will naturally lead to opportunity. So today's talk, I think, will be helpful for you guys. I've given you a very solid message, I believe, in terms of the practice of seed retention and cultivating the Christ oil. I thank you guys for listening. I have about 123 guys here right now. I'm glad you guys tapped in to listen to this talk today. I hope this is a help to you. I hope this will motivate you to continue your streak. I hope it will challenge some guys who have never heard this before to at least practice and try this. And I think that overall, you should be inspired to see how you are created by God and the purpose of the Christ oil within you, or this jewel that the Most High has given you as a man to bring good things to your life. Okay? Straight Facts, Brother Iron. Much love. Appreciate it, guys. Guys, hit the like button. Share this video. Leave a comment. I want other people to see this video. Guys, thanks. Somebody said, thanks, man. You inspire me a lot. Appreciate that. Guys, I'm going to head out. Once again, I'm glad you guys are able to come through today for this live. Take care. This is your big brother, Iron and Soul, man. God bless. Peace.